check this out. I made a very sturdy crown stop out of shop scraps that works beautifully for a 7-inch crown. It is also adjustable. If you wanted to move it in for a smaller crown, you could do that. If you want to know how I did it, for probably $5 or less, stay tuned after a commercial for my Range Pro T. So let's start this thing. The first thing you're going to need is you're going to need two 17-inch, and it could be 18, it could be anything you want. It just sticks out further back. But I picked 17 inches, and I used old scrap from a movie, whatever thing I had. Okay, so these are 17, and if you're going to build this out of plywood, which I would recommend, I would make this width exactly 2 1/16 inch wide by 17. And the reason, I'll show you that later, why I would do that. Those two. And then this one, for my purposes, I'm using 7-inch crown, so the blade doesn't come out as far onto the thing when it's here, so it's not going to cut my stick in half. If I was going to make it to be adjustable for 2-inch, let's say 3-inch, because the blade is going to cut further into the wood, I would make this 6, 7, 8, depending on what you need. That way you can slide it forward and it won't cut through your hole. That's what you need for that. What I did with my two sticks here is I just measured back an equal amount on both sticks, make sure they're even here. And I measured back and I marked both of these. I don't know if you can see that mark. But the reason that mark is there is so that I can set it here, even with this plane right here. I can set the mark even with that plane, take a clamp and clamp it on back here. And I'm going to go on the side and show you these kind of things. So take the other one, put it to the mark and clamp it back here. Okay, they're pretty close. They don't have to be perfect. Now you're going to set this here, center it out. Mine overhangs just a little. It doesn't matter. You can actually overhang it even more if you want more support for your crown. No big deal. But the reason I do it this way is so that I have this snug against the saw. If I built it over there and then I brought it over here and I measured a certain distance, it wouldn't be as snug as it is right here. So I want snugness. So I'll lay the thing here, the top plate here, even out the two sides, even with the ends here, and I will clamp it down, drill my holes for my screws, and then install my screws. I used a drill, first of all, that was the correct size for this screw. It's a drywall screw. And then to countersink, I got a bit that was the same size as this and drilled it out just a little so that these would go in and not be sticking out above this wood. It doesn't matter because nothing hits that. Let me put it together. Now that it is put together and it slides back and forth easily, now to use it, you set your crown on your saw, slide it up to where the crown fits, and then you'll put this clamp back here, and you put another one here. Now you can put your crown on there all you want, and it does not affect the turn. As you can see, it goes, that clamp does not affect the 45 turn. You see that? I can't go the other way because my table saw actually gets in the way here. But this is how it works. If I wanted to go with a 7-inch crown, slide it out, put the crown in, like that, slide it up to my crown, and then re-tack it down, and you got yourself a very solid. I think this is way more solid than the DeWalt crown stops that are metal. They come here because when you have that, when you cut and here in the center or a small short one, you only have one and you have a wiggle factor. This right here, there is no wiggle factor on this. So also, I'll show you this side. So now that we're on the side, I want to show you something here. When I'm clamping, I'm actually clamping to this piece here. You're moving this back and you're actually clamping to that piece there. Let me get out of the way. So it's a very solid clamp there. What I've also done is I made holes for bolts so they could go into this guy right here. And that was initially before I figured out the clamp method, because the clamp method, you can move this back and forth freely. But if you wanted to put a bolt there, all you would have to do is wherever you wanted this, the middle of the hole down there is exactly on this edge here. So that makes it nice. So what you would do is you would do the edge. Here it's 9.5 inches. I would measure back right on this board, 9.5 inches. And I would measure 1 1/16 down, and I'd make the hole at that point. I made a 5/16 inch hole. The nuts that go in there are not 5/16, so it gives you a little bit of wiggle room where you can move it forward and back. I make lines on my saw to make sure that I get this in the perfect position, or I use the crown, either way. Once it's in the perfect position, I'll tighten this down, which I don't have the nuts right here. But either way, you can see what I'm doing. The size of these nuts, I just happen to have mine in the shop, but I imagine you can look, because these are usually knurled knobs for the other ones. But you can see how quickly it slides. The reason I make this 2 1/16 is because this right here, it allows it to ride along that rail, which is nice because it's not flopping all around when it goes back and forth. This holds it in the front, and those rails hold it on the side, right up until you get your crown on there, butt it up to your crown, put your thing on there, bam, look how quick that was. Now you're working with a very solid, I can't even say anything. But if you like the video, subscribe, hit the notification bell, go to my website. I'll have all the information down below, but I do all this to sell those tees, to help get knowledge about those tees. If you have friends that golf, if you golf, take a look at those tees. They're practice tees for the range, and they're awesome. So thanks a lot for your time, and goodbye.